You woke up this morning and checked your phone before your eyes fully adjusted to the light, then you made coffee, then you sat in traffic, or you opened a laptop, or you stood in line for something. You filled the hours, you always fill the hours. Now ask yourself this. What did people do before any of that existed? Not medieval people, not ancient Romans. Go further back, 40,000 years, 100,000 years. People who looked exactly like you, same brain, same body, same nervous system, standing on the open savanna with nothing. No schedule, no obligations, no inbox. What did they actually do all day? The answer is going to unsettle you because it turns out the life your body was built for looks almost nothing like the one you're living. The first thing to understand is how little time survival actually took. Anthropologists who have studied modern hunter-gatherer groups, the closest living window we have into that ancient world, found something that broke every assumption. These groups, the Kung San of the Kalahari, the Hadza of Tanzania, the Aboriginal peoples of Australia, they do not spend their entire day hunting and gathering. They spend somewhere between 3 and 5 hours getting food, some days even less. Then they stop. 3 to 5 hours, and the rest of the day is theirs. This is where it starts to get strange, because the rest of the day is not filled with productivity, it is not filled with self-improvement or optimizing routines. It is filled with something modern people are genuinely terrible at. They rest, they talk, they sit with each other and do nothing in particular for long, unstructured stretches of time that would make the average person today physically anxious. Think about the last time you did nothing, not scrolled, not listened to a podcast while doing something else, just sat, just existed without a purpose attached to the moment. You probably cannot remember, but here's where the nightmare begins. The human brain was not built for constant stimulation. It was built for contrast. Long stretches of quiet, punctuated by moments of intense focused action. Hunt, rest. Hunt, rest. A rhythm your nervous system still expects and almost never gets. Every time you feel that creeping, restless guilt for not being productive, that is not ambition. That is an ancient alarm system misfiring in a world it was never designed for. Your brain is still the brain of a creature that needed to conserve energy between hunts. The anxiety you feel when you're not doing something is your body asking you why you're wasting resources. The problem is the resources are no longer scarce. The hunt is every day now and it never ends. So what did they do with the rest of the time? They talked relentlessly. Researchers estimate that around 60 to 70% of human conversation in hunter-gatherer groups is social in nature. Gossip, technically, who did what, who said what, who is trustworthy, and who is not. This is not shallow behavior. This is the operating system of a social species. Language itself, the very thing you are using right now to process these words, almost certainly evolved not to describe the environment, but to describe other people. You did not develop language to talk about the weather, you developed it to talk about each other. Adults in these groups play with a regularity and a seriousness that looks almost childlike by modern standards. Games, mock fights, competitive challenges with no stakes beyond the moment. Play is not a reward for finished work in a hunter-gatherer group. It is a fundamental part of the day. And they created things. Cave paintings, carved figurines, musical instruments made from bone. 40,000 years old and unmistakably artistic. Not functional, not practical. Beautiful for no reason other than that someone wanted to make something beautiful. This is the part that gets to you when you sit with it long enough. These people with no technology, no agriculture, no cities, no written history spent significant portions of their lives doing things that had no survival value whatsoever. They made art, they played, they sat in firelight and told each other stories, and here's where it gets worse. We have more time-saving technology than any humans who have ever lived. The dishwasher alone would have looked like magic to anyone born before 1900. We have cars and grocery stores and machines that do in seconds what took hours by hand for most of human history. By every rational calculation, we should have more leisure than our ancestors. We have less. The average American works longer hours now than in the 1970s. The average person in a wealthy nation reports feeling more time pressure, more urgency, more of that grinding sensation that there is always something left undone. We optimized our way into a cage and called it progress. Your ancient ancestors sat by a fire after a successful day and felt, in the most literal biological sense, finished. The task was complete. The hunger was handled. The sun was going down. Time to be a person. You will probably check your phone before you fall asleep tonight. There is a concept in anthropology called immediate return versus delayed return societies. Hunter-gatherers live in immediate return. You go out, you find food, you eat it, you're done. Almost everything in the modern world is delayed return. You work for a paycheck that comes at the end of the month. You study for a degree that pays off in years. You save for a retirement that may or may not arrive. You are always living for a future version of your life that keeps moving forward just out of reach. Your nervous system did not evolve for this. It evolved for immediate return. Do the thing, get the thing, rest. It is still waiting for that moment of completion that the modern world has structurally removed from daily life. The fire is never fully out. The hunt is never fully done. There is always another task queued up before the current one is finished. The anthropologist Marshall Sahlins called hunter-gatherers the original affluent society, not because they had much, but because they wanted little. They had enough time and enough rest and enough each other. Sahlins argued controversially and convincingly that the agricultural revolution, the thing we call civilization, was not a step up for the average human. It was longer hours, worse nutrition, more disease, more hierarchy, and the invention of the concept of scarcity as a permanent condition of life rather than an occasional one. You gave up the fire and the story in the afternoon of nothing in exchange for a mortgage and a 5-day work week. And the strangest part of all of this is not the history. The strangest part is what it tells you about the life you're living right now. The version of you that evolution built, the deep structure you underneath the routines and the obligations and the notifications, that version of you does not need more. It does not need optimization or a better morning routine or a more efficient system for managing tasks. It needs a fire. It needs someone to sit next to. It needs an afternoon with no purpose attached to it. Every moment of stillness you deny yourself, you are not being productive. You are being unfaithful to the only creature you actually are. The ancient human did not ask what they were supposed to be doing with their life. They were too busy living it in 3 to 5 hours, and then the long, unhurried rest of it. That rest was not empty. That rest was the point.